wanted music.
Is, I guess, keep the lucidity, keep the accuracy. Yes, they'll be emotional, particularly on the Toulouse side after that. And, you know, you've got to say that La Rochelle couldn't help but feel moved by that situation as well. But job at hand now, and they've got to get on with it. And we'll see pretty quickly who switches on the best.
Higher West is the fly half tonight. Antoine Hastoy plays at fullback tonight. He was the man in the number 10 when these two teams met last season, and indeed when they met in the final as well. Didn't have his best match, Hastoy, at 10. They're going to try with West this time around. 32 years old now. Former Toulon man launches, and it's taken immediately by Jack Willis, who has been one of the star signings of any team in Top 14 over the past 3 or 4 years. He really has become an absolute giant of the French game. And no signs that he's regretting having left England, and he has kind of started a huge exodus of English talent.
Yes, he has. Plenty of really good English players playing across the top 14 and plenty in Pro D2 as well. Good first touch. Both teams happy by that. Not really sort of feeling one another out, but it was pretty clean on both sides. And Higher West got the nod at 10. I think it's a good call from La Rochelle. I think you've got to try and attack Toulouse.
They have to keep 15 on the pitch as well, which is very important. It sounds glib to say it, but that's something that they have not managed to do. Satani has knocked that ball on. Picked up by Mathis Lebel, who scored against them in the semi-finals last season, in his last match of the season. He didn't play in the final against Union Bordeaux-Bègles. Entermac. You're probably remembering that magnificent run to the victory in the final a couple of seasons ago. Of course, last season was ruined by an injury that saw him miss the World Cup. And he only came back really later on in the season. But came back to start in both finals, Leinster and against Union Bordeaux-Bègles. Of course, alongside his usual partner in crime, Antoine Dupont, and Thomas Ramos as well. Another of those, and a very quickly taken tap penalty. Little too quick, perhaps. Concourier picks it up. The charging back row forward for La Rochelle. Gregory Aldrich, Mr. Dependable. La Rochelle always do better when he is on the pitch, and particularly when he's firing, which is more often than not. West. And it goes to Hastoy, wearing 15 tonight at fullback, unusually. Carried on by Mathis Haddad, the open side flanker, just 23 years old. The number 7, and he's lost the ball as well. Jack Willis again decides to keep ball in hand and runs straight into Redawardi. A lot of turnovers in the opening 2.5 minutes. Flamand, out by Ramos once more. Cut back inside, Blair Kinghorn, who's been one of the great successes as well of last season. So many important tries at important moments. Jack Willis takes it on as well. Paul Graou, who wound up starting more matches than he was a sub in last season because of the absences of Dupont. And here they come onto this near side. François Cross with an awful pass, looking for Pierre-Louis Barassi. But another of the giants of that pack an unchanged pack from last week.
Yeah, there's plenty of things to talk about there from the contributions of Kinghorn, who's suddenly found his place at Toulouse on the wing. You know, he's been obviously earmarked for a long time as a quality international 10 or 15, but he's been fantastic on the wing, and his combination with Ramos is growing better and better. Ramos himself shows the difference between having a proper fullback and perhaps a Stoy.
He actually played more times in Europe than in top 14 last season, but his impact when he did play was sensational.
Like I say, we saw the difference between Ramos and Hastoy. Hastoy not really convincing bringing that ball back once. He's not really an attacking threat, certainly not a counter-attacking threat versus Ramos, who took a quick tap, got the ball on got the team on the front foot. And then Lebel, who I reckon amongst a star-studded, glittering lineup, was absolutely my favourite Toulouse player of last season. Absolutely wonderful. And he's already getting a few touches on the ball, which is great to see.
10 tries in top 14 rugby for Mathis Lebel last season. And unfortunately for him, he didn't manage to get to the final in Marseille against Union Bordeaux-Bègles. Ange Capuzzo filled in for him. Good charge forward again. Francois Cruz again wearing the number 6. So difficult to bring down. He's so strong. Forward by Rodrigue Netti, the loose head prop. And Tamac, quick hands. Ramos just as quick as well. That was flat, shall we say, that pass. The line suggested it might have been slightly forward, but that's a good kick. And it's gone into touch. Hastoy decides to take it to himself, and he's going to be able to kick it away. And the chase there by Toulouse could have been better. However, you could say the same at the other end, as the opposite number 15 has taken it quickly, and Ntamak has it once more, and off it goes now to the other touchline. And that's a good kick again. Dylan Leds can't get there. And Toulouse in the end come out on top of that battle, and that's going to be a 50-22 as well.
Yes, the crowd thought there was a 50-22 just before the previous kick, but that had been passed back into the Toulouse half, whereas this one was absolutely clean. And La Rochelle chasing already.
Well, at the beginning of every season, Hugo Moller sits down and works out this season's latest goals, which is the way they try and do it so that they will remain interested. Whereas for Ronan O'Gara, well, let's not forget they've won 2 Champions Cup titles. Last season they gave it up rather tamely against Leinster, and he was not happy. This time they're going to try to do a bit better. They made it into the semi-finals of top 14, but they were never really that convincing all the way through the campaign. They need a bit more consistency. Nevertheless, it's still a final and a semi-final in top 14 in back-to-back years. However, Netti's got it. Netti on the run. Jack Willis runs into Reda Wardy. And there's an advantage being played to Toulouse. The tackler not rolling away. Forward comes Joshua Brennan, the ex-France under-20 international. The referee can't see any advantage, so we'll come back for the infringement.
Question here is scrum or line out, really. I wouldn't imagine Toulouse with this sort of a start will settle for just the 3. Marchand was up there very quickly. He'll obviously be crucial to whether it was a scrum or a line out.
Looks like they're going to do a tap and go. From Paul Grau, Netti back inside, Jack Willis over the 5-metre line. Took a little bit of a roll there, but got away with it. Charge forward by Thibaut Flamand. Surely there's a try coming. Oh my word, no. It looks as though it was impossible there for Toulouse not to score, and then they literally threw it away.
Well, the corner flag was beckoning for the touch judge if he'd felt like grabbing that pass. Romain Tamac was the only man out there. They used a couple of tap moves last week as well, Toulouse. The defence pretty robust from La Rochelle on this occasion. I thought actually Toulouse got a couple of players ahead of the ball there as well, ran the risk of being penalised for obstruction. Here they go again.
Same move into Netti once more. They like the look of the way it worked the first time. Oh, and this time A supporting player going in off his feet, and La Rochelle are handed a get-out-of-jail free card.
Yeah, well, I think the picture's been in the referee's head since that previous penalty where, like I say, they kind of either got ahead of the ball runner or they were a bit too wide of him and ended up just taking out bodies. You can see what they were trying to do, but definitely not legal.
So Higher West able to clear lines. And the first tide of attack has been held off in Canute style.
Yeah, this time Nettie not tapping the ball back on the inside like he did on the previous one to Jack Willis, but yeah, who's the support player? Is that Flamand on the inside, I think? Or Gross, is it?
Very unlike Toulouse to give away a penalty like that. Line out ball, safely gathered by La Rochelle, and they start up the driving maul and try to push Toulouse back up towards the halfway line. Breaking off. Big hit though by Julien Marchand, trying to reinstate himself as the first choice for just his club and his country. Ironically, it's Piatu Movaka who's injured at the start of this season. Toulouse have it again, back inside, outside centre, Pierre-Louis Barassi. He gets flattened. Entermac. The attempted kick by Blair Kinghorn doesn't work out, but Paul Graou grabs the ball, goes forward. That's been knocked on though by Kinghorn, and the referee brings them back. Well, Blair Kinghorn, he started last week as well against Van in their first ever top 14 game, up against the side that knows more about top 14 than any other side.
La Rochelle trying desperately there off the set phase to get the ball across to number 11, Dylan Lates. Like I said before, much rather see him at 15 where he can get his hands on the ball more often, but they are trying to get the ball to him. Ran into some hefty Toulouse defence there, and it's that little knock on. I don't think Blair Kinghorn would have expected to make his name in France on the wing, but the way that Toulouse plays and the involvement that he gets, and of course we saw his combination last week for Thomas Ramos's try, where they've just got that understanding now, and you know, Kinghorn, so long as he's got the pace to handle it, which he does, it's like playing with another fullback, proper fullback there in the back three.
Ironically there, Bergeron got absolutely poleaxed, as you said. It was actually by his opposite number, Paul Graou. He took his eye off the ball. This time, though, he has his eye on the ball at the back of the scrum. Somebody else took their eye off the ball. Well, that's unlike Ulipanu Suteni, the Australian-born Samoa international.
I think we'll see here, Angus, that as he was receiving that pass, he looked up straight away. And you can understand that with these players. They're catching so many balls so accurately in trainings and in matches that just getting them ahead of themselves is probably pretty human. There he looks up. He's already looked up because I think he was going to chop back in on the angle. He had all the backs running outside him, but he was going to carry that ball over the gain line if he could.
Another one of those men who started the semi-final last week, or last season, against Toulouse.
Flexion.
Raphael Ibanez sideline. Always French rugby royalty at every top 14 match.
Especially this place. Off the back. Graou out to Entermac. Entermac still got it. Oh, they've lost control. And Courier picks it up. Thomas Bergeron able to hoof the ball to safety, back up towards the 10-metre line. And not much composure by either side at the moment. It's not quite the start I was expecting.
I think La Rochelle will be quite happy with that, just staying in the fight, making it a little bit scrappy. It looked a little bit disjointed there, Toulouse in the back line. Not that precision sort of clockwork that they are renowned for. One of the great teams, Toulouse, obviously got plenty of quality players throughout, but great teams for being able to play structured and heads-up rugby.
And that was a good win for Toulouse from the line out. Lovely play as well off the training pitch. Out to Mathis Lebel. They love it here when Mathis Lebel is able to stretch out. Lebel's there. And can he get the ball back? They believe that that was knocked on, and they are right. And La Rochelle are being pestered and harried and worried. That was Jack Knoll.
Yeah, some very good passing under pressure here, just getting it away. 2 touches from Tamak. Question mark perhaps over that ball from Kinghorn out, but LaBelle keen to make something out of not a lot. Noel just unlucky, not able to control the ball. And a prime attacking opportunity now for Toulouse. Bit of a bonus for them.
Jack Noel in his 2nd season now with La Rochelle. He was on the centre, in the centre a little bit last season, but always looks his best when he's on the wing. Another one that came over. The influx of English players this season, though, has become a torrent. With the likes of Owen Fowle that you might have seen yesterday playing for Racing, the Vinapolo brothers, and a variety of other England internationals who've turned their back on the national side to come across here to France and play. Flamand, who has played in England. Marchand, looking to stay fit this season after getting injured against New Zealand in the opening game of the Rugby World Cup. Nicely played. Flamand again. It's picked up now by Joshua Brennan. Willis wants it. Willis goes for the line. Taking everything they've got to keep him away. Graou. Oh, and it's been dropped by Marchand. Everybody's getting a few butterfingers this evening.
That was a great tackle from Greg Aldred on Jack Willis. Good speed off the back from Rumar, and he's got his support in there from Peter Aki as well. Good go-forward ball straight away, and they just surged forward phase after phase. But when Jack Willis had this pick and go here, there's the end result with Marchand dropping it. But it was the tackle from Aldred, the smothering tackle, and forcing Jack Willis back a little bit that put a little bit more pressure on Toulouse, perhaps, and led to the Marchand mistake.
So then, important scrum for La Rochelle on their own 5-metre line. Important that they get this right. Hugo Moller with a big statement last week. There's one thing against Van, but the 8th here, Cyril Bai, still injured. Would be at loose head prop. Big push by Toulouse, and Aldred just manages to get back the right side of the try line. Great play by the La Rochelle captain. Bergeon sees it. Bergeon's had to join the ruck. In the end, it's recycled by Kane Douglas. A new man in from Union Bordeaux-Bègles. Of course, Toulouse beat in the final all the way back in June. Feels like a long time ago now. Had the Olympics and the Paralympics in this country since then. And of course, Antoine Dupont involved in the sevens competition, leading France to the gold medal in the men's competition.
That was a great scrum on the La Rochelle line from Toulouse against the feed, and Aldred also did very, very well after initially being forced backwards to just keep his composure, keep his control, and allowed La Rochelle to get out of their own, certainly their own 22.
Julien Marchand. Solid. Straight into Alexandre Roumain, who last season at last became a full French international. After so many false dawns, call-ups and then first caps that never happened. One of the most important players, though, for Toulouse, although they have many players who could argue that. There's a knock-on in the middle of that. Messy game so far. A little bit of humidity in the air on the pitch.
He's a good halfback, Paul Grohl, but he doesn't quite have the same presence and the same ability at the base of the ruck there. Aldred managed to get an arm through there. You'd question maybe whether he was onside. Didn't look like that on the fringe of the ruck there. He's supposed to be behind the last man's feet.
Yeah, but the moment that a scrum half takes one step without throwing the ball, you know you're in trouble.
And there he was there, Antoine Dupont, just picking his moments as the games got bigger and bigger last season. Picked his moments,
He's
went to
career
inject
on that.
the speed. Oh,
yeah.
Phenomenal.
Flexion.
Midas touch.
Captain of France as well as of La Rochelle. One of those born leaders. Better push this from La Rochelle. Bergeon has it. They better get rid of it before Toulouse suddenly manage to get onto it. Lovely play by Aldred. Bergeon gets it over the top of Blair Kinghorn. Now Dylan Les does have the ball in hand, but the Scottish international arrests his forward momentum. Aldrit once more. Better finally into the Toulouse half. Georges-Henri Colombe finally gets his hands on the ball, the big tight head prop. West, fed out by Hastoy, back the other way from Matisse Haddad, the back row forward. There's a Toulouse player in the way, and as a result, he's been penalised. Looks like it's Flamand. Hastoy, Aldrit's there again, joining in midfield. Getting past a couple of tacklers. Paul Grau needs to get out of the way quickly. Wardy. Satani, that's more like it, much better. And away they come. Away comes Teddy Thomas, and he's going to score under the post. And La Rochelle get themselves out of a vice and explode up the other end of the pitch and score the game's first points and try.
This was absolutely beautiful from Seuteni. Here he goes there, off the right foot, bang, through the gap, and then the little flick out the side. Teddy Thomas with a swerve, and away under the post he goes, but that was all Ulupano Seuteni. There he goes. What a beautiful clean break. And La Rochelle, the first real foray into the Toulouse half, and they come away with 5, looking like 7 points.
Well, echoes there of the great years gone by from Teddy Thomas when he was a full French international. And a welcome back to the try line for the former France wing.
Hastoy rips the extra 2 points through quickly. And as you say, the former international, Angus, the speed and the experience that comes with seeing a guy make a break, and you see him straight away change his line, get in to give Seuteni the option. Not only that, but then managing to swerve around, get through the remaining defenders and capitalise on the break. Toulouse, after really dominating possession and territory for the first part of this match, find themselves 7 points down on the scoreboard.
2 tries last season for Teddy Thomas, but that's a big one against the champions. Gregory Aldrit, how often have we seen him be the man to receive the ball after a restart, and as safe as houses as ever. Well, it's a good start by La Rochelle now, but it took them an awful lot to try and get out from under the cosh. They'll be heavily buoyed by that turn of events.
Absolutely, it's almost Ali in the Rumble in the Jungle, wasn't it? They've weathered the blows that have been raining down on them from Toulouse, and all of a sudden fire back up. Greg Aldrit was right at the centre of everything. Firstly, the scrum down on his own line, then getting that ball away to lead La Rochelle to attack up that left-hand side.
Toulouse take it and set up the maul. Julien Marchand with ball in hand, Paul Grau following him. It's good work by Toulouse, and they've gone down. Who's brought that down? It's a La Rochelle player that's brought that maul down, so now they're playing with a penalty advantage. Aki. Ntamak knows he can kick this to nothing, and it was nothing because it was caught by Hastoy. So we'll go back for the previous infringement of collapsing the maul.
St. John effondrement de vol.
Kane Douglas, the new man in from last season's finalists. 35 years old now. Only started the 2021 semi-final for Bordeaux-Bègles against Toulouse. And against Montpellier the season after that as well, when Bordeaux-Bègles were very much a team that always got to the semis but no further. That was Pietro Mavaka you saw almost on screen, who's injured at the moment. There's quite a lot of artillery missing for both sides this evening. Ruma got his sights though well and truly there. François Cruz inside the 5-metre line. Toulouse now on a mission to answer that 7-pointer with their own. Jack Willis again. Willis still going. Eventually stopped by Colombe.
No!
Raoul. Aki's got strength, and he's got a try. Such a great finish, they're so difficult to bring down. And Toulouse take only a couple of minutes to answer with their first try of the game.
Yeah, the quick ball from Toulouse was the key here, just keeping the momentum going. No shortage of volunteers to carry the ball. They got around the back of the La Rochelle forward pack, and then it was just phase after phase of bludgeoning. Here's the end of it, and Aki goes across.
Aki returned to action from an adductor injury for the semi-final last season after an injury he picked up in the Champions Cup final against Leinster. Scored a try against them as well then. Thomas Ramos given the relatively easy task here of belting this one through, and with 7 points apiece, and now both sides have scored.
Good support from Pierre-Louis Bourassi as well, getting straight onto Aki. He was never going to take a backward step there or get hit backwards. Aki really put his head down, but he had his midfield partner alongside him. Too strong.
Yeah, Aki, one of those who's been involved in the last 4 top 14 titles dating back to 2019, which was the first under Hugo Mola. Well, that's gone a bit awry, but Toulouse managed to pick it up in the end. Jack Willis has it. Raoult looks around for a forward to supply it to. And there's a kick coming. This is where one of those rules, new law adjustments has come in. You've got to kick it pretty quickly these days. There's no more 1 count anymore. You've just got to get rid of it. That was a hit. Goodness me, by Josh Brennan. Straight through on Antoine Hustoy. And now they picked it up. Brennan again, the destroyer in midfield. Raoult chip over the top. Oh, and Labella's got it. La Rochelle's players didn't know where the ball was, but at least they got them there. They might score again, and they do. Thibaut Flamand rolling onto the try line, and it's a second try for Toulouse. And really, La Rochelle scoring just made them angry.
Yes, and it was Flamand's locking mate who firstly made that hit there, Josh Brennan. Wham, completely legal. Then he made the steal when the ball popped out. I thought this was prematurely kicked away, but Labelle with a fantastic chase. And Flamand here, and referee having to decide, was this momentum rather than the roll that took him over? And I think he quite fairly decided that it was.
Well, he hasn't scored a try in a while. Didn't score last season. Good time to knock that bad habit on the head. 5-point lead could become 7 as Thomas Ramos lines up the next kick, and you wouldn't expect anything different than accurately straight through the middle, and suddenly Toulouse go from 7-0 down to 14-7 in front. You could clearly see the arm wrapping. Great touch. Aware of the try line, but it was Josh Brennan who put that all together at the beginning with the hit and then the feed. So Higher West underway again, and now La Rochelle find themselves behind, and it's the try scorer who makes the catch from the kickoff. They always seem to have an answer, Toulouse, and that's half of the problem. They work it out, they have different theories, they have different solutions. And they also have a total belief that they will always come back. Forward comes Brennan again. Raoult. Netty. Dangerously close to going in off his feet by Alexander Roumat, and the ball has gone backwards. Thomas Ramos will pick it up. And he sees a chance to come down this left-hand side. Well, we saw Racing yesterday score 3 tries down the left-hand side in the second half to great effect. Toulouse trying to do something similar. Wardy, though, has it. West. La Rochelle with Satani. Satani, the missed pass out to Teddy Thomas. That looked a little bit forward, and that's definitely forward. Terrible pass from Teddy Thomas. No wonder he blows his cheeks out.
Yeah, this kick from Ramos just a little bit too far, but it just shows the attacking mindset that they have. You talk about the belief, Angus, and they've been able to come back after a bit of a shock when they conceded the first points of the game, but then bang, bang, 2 tries. And it just shows up in a lot of places. We saw the kickoff that bounced, and it was a bit of a lottery there. And who was it that got it? I think it was Barassi who got it. But straight away, he's looking for runners off him, and they've got the support play. They've got the communication, as we see Anthony Geelong in the stands. But they've got that belief, and they've got that desire to always try and create something.
There's a lot of applause for him. We thought he might actually come back today. There's a lot of speculation that he might well, but they've decided to just make sure that he comes back properly. So the comeback postponed again. There is Dupont. Well, we didn't look at him for very long, did we? As we look at all of the others. It's a considerable injury bench.
The crowd's happy it's come back to their golden man.
Antoine Dupont sat down with Didier Lecoin. One of the conversations they had, apparently, in November. Antoine Dupont said, I don't want to talk about the Olympics now, but I want it to remain open. He said, I want to stay at the club for a long time. And so Didier Lecoin, not surprisingly, entertaining his Golden Boys ambitions, and was in the crowd watching at the Stade de France, where Dupont led his side to that gold medal, saying, I was just a simple fan that day.
Well, he's probably just happy he got an interview or got a meeting with Dupont. He's a pretty sought-after individual. He's on every, well, he was certainly on every Olympic poster around Paris. Most of them.
Yeah, the only disappointment last season for Antoine Dupont was the World Cup. Everything else literally turned to gold in lots of different ways. He won the double again. Romain Ntamak missed the World Cup injured. So too in the end did Julien Marchand, even though he actually went and ended up getting injured against New Zealand. And such is the depth. New arrivals this season for Toulouse include Leo Banos and Efran Alias, Hugo Reyes and Nato Sato, who you might well see in the second half, the Japanese international scrum half, who is the lightest man in the Toulouse squad, be it the senior squad or the Espoirs, the under-20s. Grow. Toulouse on the attack again, and every time they come forward now, they look like they could break through at any moment, which is something that they regularly do. Kinghorn charges into Leeds and then pushes him backwards. Big push this by the Scot.
Tamolo.
Finally down. It looks like La Rochelle might have got this. They have. Great play by the visitors. Reda Wardy now charges forward with Quentin Lesbec. Oh my goodness me, and they've gone down, killed the ball, handed over possession.
Well, Leitz did really well on Blair Kinghorn there. They kept him up. He's a tall man, but they kept him up high, La Rochelle, giving them enough time to bring their support in and have it created a maul, which meant that if the ball didn't come out, they were going to get the put into the scrum. Whether it was by luck or design, Toulouse giving up the ball and then getting back into position to try and steal it.
They're going to go for the points. This was that hit you were talking about. Dylan Leeds to start with did really well. Managed to hold him up as well, turn the ball over. But then Reda Wardy goes through and then everybody piles off there into him. They don't let the ball go, and great work by the Toulouse hooker, Julien Marchand, who's something to prove this season.
Yeah, just probably the first supporter there for La Rochelle. I didn't see who it was, but losing his footing, so he wasn't in position to make it a ruck.
Ramos, again accurate.
That's interesting. Toulouse. They don't go for the 3 points in the early exchanges, but once they've got 2 tries up, they're happy to just keep the scoreboard ticking over, keep the pressure on La Rochelle.
All of a sudden, it's a 10-point lead. So by watching on and looking relatively happy about things, as he would do at the moment. Looking forward to him being fit again. Cyril Bay had a season-ending ankle injury in the semi-final win against La Rochelle, and that's still ongoing, as you can see. Graou. That's while Kroos tried to take it. There's a knock-on here in favour of La Rochelle, and that will now be activated because Roumas picked it up.
Glad somebody did, eventually.
Well, the next score here is important. La Rochelle need it. Never the easiest to play Toulouse, but especially at this place, where they've been pretty much unbeatable over more than 2 seasons now.
Funnily enough, La Rochelle's been the most successful probably team in any season against Toulouse. Last season, where they had a draw here and beat them back up at home in La Rochelle. So,
and that draw they should have probably won as well. They were ahead. They were a couple of minutes from the end, and then Toulouse just always find a way.
So they'd come down here less daunted perhaps than other teams, but in saying that, if you catch Toulouse in irrepressible mood, it's tough.
Let's not forget that Antoine Dupont's not even playing. Setani. Back by Antoine Hustoy in the unfamiliar position of fullback. Out by Bergeon. Setani once more. Tries to take on Ntamak. Full in the face. Bergeon again. Aldrit always heads straight for the defender and looks for contact. He's off his feet there, surely, isn't he? Here's Paul Graou. He is. Bergeon takes it, and he's not 10 metres back, surely. Nevertheless, they carry on. Picked up by Lespec, the 29-year-old hooker. Nice cut back inside. Setani looks for the offload once more. It's a little bit more approximate this time, but it's picked up by Jack Knoll.
Ici on lutte au sol pour atteindre le soutien, on revient à l'avantage.
Wow, that was almost a carbon copy, wasn't it? From Setani. They go back here. I think probably Graou was lucky to not get a card here for 2 very, very quick infringements, not being back to 10, but also the illegal steal. You can't have complaints on either.
Which was pretty blatant. I would imagine they'll go for the corner. But you could argue that getting 3 points at least would get the points going again in their favour. Bring it back to a converted try.
Yeah,
if they don't take it. If they don't take it, then they will have to score.
Yeah, I'm a little bit disappointed there, to be honest, Angus. I mean, I wasn't much for cards ever in my career, but I got one. Playing for too long against Béziers, got penalised, I thought wrongly both times, but twice within a minute, and got yellow carded for it. So I can't see why Graou escaped.
And indeed they are going to go for the points. I think this is sensible. They need to make sure they stay in touch. They've decided that going for the corner is too big a risk. Here comes Hustoy, usually so reliable, and that's a beautiful kick. So then, La Rochelle up to double figures, the gap down to 7 points. It's 17 points to 10, but Toulouse still very much in charge.
That's why he's there, Antoine Hustoy. He's not the counter-attacking threat, perhaps, that we see in other fullbacks, but when you need 3 points knocked over, which so often in French rugby you do, he steps up. Just as well, he's still not rattling from that hit by Josh Brennan.
Roman Ntamak then gets us underway once more. And that's gone out. Blair Kinghorn was trying to pat it back, but got a little bit underneath it. And you can see there, it wasn't the greatest kick, to be quite honest with you. It came off the outside of Ntamak's boot.
Option touche ou mêlée. Mêlée. En avant, mêlée.
I think he's gone for a scrum, has he? Yes.
They need to knuckle down here, though, La Rochelle, because they got put under a lot of pressure by the Toulouse scrum on their own feed. Haven't had too many scrums, have we, so far? So they feel it's easier to win this ball, I guess, than line out, and gives them maybe a better attacking platform with some space for the backs.
There's Mr. Steenkamp, the master of ceremonies when it comes to forward play for La Rochelle.
Lates is hanging there around Higher West, probably just to keep that 10 and 12 defence from Toulouse in close.
Aldred has it. A little bit mucky this, but Jack Willis is a little bit high with that tackle, but referee has decided to ignore that and just get on with it. Bergeon, Wardy trying to get through the vastly experienced Doran Aldeguerri. Aldeguerri, another man who's been very much part of front and central of all that success under Hugo Moller, with those 4 top 14 titles, the latest in the record number that Toulouse have added through their history. Ruma, Entermac, Ramos, back inside by Barassi. Peter Aki picks it up. Oh, he's such a low runner, and once he gets into that position, it's very tough to bring him down. Grau. Brennan runs into Cancorier. Clash of tectonic plates there. Now looking around for the options. Entermac quickly, little ball over the top. Ramos will take it, and a little bit of volleyball there from the fullback. Lovely play. Jack Willis now. They are improvising their way towards the 22. Finally, ball goes to ground. Entermac picks it up again. It's another little kick through. Picked up by Satani. Referee's blown though. With a hit on Entermac. Oh, not rolling away from the tackle. Not sure what that meant. It was a funny way to ask for a TMO. funny shaped screen.
Circular screen.
Now then, let's make it out here. It's lovely play by Ramos.
Not sure where Barassi, who's one of the other unsung heroes of this Toulouse team. He's not even a permanent fixture necessarily. He's still got to compete with Paul Cost to be in the midfield. Maybe at this breakdown here, yeah, it was Wardy, that's right. It was Wardy got in there. He looked a little bit puzzled, as well he might, because I thought he did everything he could legally at the start of that breakdown.
Paul Cost, incidentally, has been competed out of the squad tonight, so there's a chance here for the other two who are in the side. Flamand. 40 minutes is up already. Hooter goes, and a large chance here for Toulouse to score before we go in at half-time. Grau out to Roman Entermac. Entermac this time decides to hold on and is being held up. He's got his knee, though, to the deck, which means tackle. Julien Marchand has it and comes round the corner. Grau on his feet once more. Back the other way. Thomas Ramos looking for a gap that isn't there. Entermac. No way through at the moment. Ruma bustling his way through, picked up by Brennan. And they're gradually again making their way forward, and that defensive line is having to retreat metre by metre. Francois Croce. Grau. Aldeguerri trying to barge his way through Quentin Lespec. Josh Brennan once more gets past one tackle but then has to go down. Grau has it though. Blair Kinghorn. Grau, Entermac, quick ball into Ramos. Ramos though is being held onto by Teddy Thomas. Like his life depends on it. Jack Willis. Same thing from Matisse Haddad. Grau again, Entermac looking again. Slight edge of crossing, but they're coming forward. And it's going to be another try. The man you were just talking about, one of the unsung heroes goes well. He's front and central now because he's given Toulouse a clear lead at the break.
Yes, thank you, Angus. I was inadvertently prophetic there, but I'll take it. The composure shown by Toulouse was impressive here. They were under pressure quite a few times by some pretty good La Rochelle hits. They got some acceleration through thanks to the likes of Brennan and Rumart. Finally, Aki doing well to stay out of the way of Barassi. And over he goes. Strength, tenacity from the big centre.
Lovely play. First appearance of the new season for the centre. And it brings with it a first try.
Fatigue setting in a little bit, I think, there. They just had to defend so many phases, La Rochelle, and they've been in their own half defending for a lot of the game.
So Thomas Ramos hits it, and he's just squeezed it wide. So it means at half-time, after a splendid performance from Toulouse, after La Rochelle scored the first try, it is Toulouse 22, La Rochelle 10. Well, a little bit disappointing then for La Rochelle as we hear then from Mathis Lebel.
Dans la première partie du moins.
Ouais, exactement. Je pense qu'il faudra faire attention de ne pas le payer trop cher à la fin, mais je pense qu'on a le territoire et la possession. Mais
I think we've had a lot of territory in possession.
On finit bien la mi-temps.
Merci. On vous laisse rejoindre le vestiaire. Le capitaine Rochelais s'arrête à notre micro.
In comes Gregory Aldrit.
Comment remettre la main sur le ballon dans...
So how do you get your hands on the ball again after that?
On n'arrive pas à sortir de chez nous.
Well, we can't get out of our own half.
Quand on arrive chez eux, on arrive à être plutôt réaliste. Au contraire,
We need to be a little bit more realistic
mieux sortir du camp.
Merci, on vous laisse rejoindre le
and
vestiaire également.
get into their half.
22-10, c'est le score.
Yeah, they were. As things stand, if it stays the way it is, as Will Skelton gets set to come on. Ultain Delan as well has come on at half-time as well. There's a sort of a bomb squad on the La Rochelle bench tonight. Some big men.
It's a big bomb.
Yes. La Rochelle's version of the famous Springboks finisher brigade. Up goes Bergeon with the kick. That's a great piece of commitment to the chase there by Ramos. No doubt in his mind he was going to get there. Netty feeds it once more into Brennan, ever combative. Yeah, good work by La Rochelle. You could hear the ref say their counter-ruck. Pierre Bougarit has come on for Quentin Lasbec at hooker as well for La Rochelle. So some wholesale changes. And George-Henri Colombe has come off at tight head and has been replaced by the Georgian under-20 international, who is 22 now, Alexandre Kuntelia.
Well, the double effect now of having someone like Will Skelton on is, firstly, you have to commit fewer players, normally one fewer player to a ruck. He's so big, he's so bulky, he's so strong in that ruck situation that on attack and defence, you have one extra player, really. And on top of that, he lifts the effort of the team around him, and we just saw that in the counter-ruck from La Rochelle.
Here comes La Rochelle then, looking for that comeback try. Pierre Bougarit has it in his hands at the back of the ruck, or the maul rather. Bergeon thinking about taking it off his hands, and does. Satani no way through for his slippery running manoeuvres this time around. Back it comes then to Dylan Leds, who has his own moves that he can wreak on defensive lines. There's an advantage, offside given against Toulouse. And another offside, I would suggest, there against Ramos.
Yeah, well, that's smart play from Ramos, isn't it? He knows that La Rochelle's got the luxury of rolling the dice a little bit with the penalty advantage, so gets up and infringes again. I mean, you would call that cynical, wouldn't you, in any other context? But a good start to the second half for La Rochelle, Angus.
It's interesting when you were talking there about Will Skelton, about his size. The director, not surprisingly, went to Emmanuel Meafou, warming up for Toulouse.
Fight fire with fire. Inferno, really.
So then opportunity here for La Rochelle to reduce the deficit, albeit by just the 3 points. Antoine Hustoy with the kick. He was successful with one in the first half, successful here in the second half. And that chips a little bit away. Down to a 9-point gap now at 22 points to 13. Got a bit quiet suddenly inside the Stade Ernst Wallon. Romain Ntamak gets things underway once more, and of course Gregory Aldrit underneath it. The two French internationals there on opposite sides tonight, though. Told to get on with it is Thomas Bergeon. He's taking a while to do that. Again, doesn't go out. Lovely take by Ramos again, so aware of where the touchline was. Good push by La Rochelle, but Toulouse have it once more. Jack Willis. And runs straight into a wall. Out by Aldeguerri. Flamand. Into Aldrit. Sort of fell into his arm. Ntamak's going to kick because there's no way through with the ball in hand. So to the air they go, and it's out on the full. Well, he is human.
Yeah, and they've got a bit to think about at the moment, Toulouse. If they'd thought that it was just going to be one-way traffic again and getting down the La Rochelle end easily, then this man had other ideas, Ronan O'Gara, and La Rochelle have stepped up the physicality immediately. So Toulouse having to concede, really, and go to the air.
Pierre Bourgarit, French international, who has to compete against Movaca and Marchand for a place in the French international setup. No easy feat, but he did manage to play a few games at the Rugby World Cup because of the injury to Marchand, who's on the opposition side tonight. And it's the opposition side who've now got a penalty for not letting go after the tackle.
He did well there, Jack Willis, just to stay in the fight and just looked like he was wanting to keep his hands on the ball and steal it. Not entirely sure it was legal at the start, but it all depends on the referee's perception, and his durability there was helpful because he got hit by a Will Skelton who was hell-bent on getting rid of him.
Toulouse are unbeaten in their last 32 home matches in top 14. And as we said already, they failed to win their most recent one against La Rochelle, 31 each. What a game that was. And it was one of the games. Here comes Miafu then. He comes on for Josh Brennan. Let's double the size of the second row, shall we?
I reckon if you had a whip round, everyone would put 5 or 10 euros in just to see Skelton and Miafu line up from the 10-metre line and just go straight at one another.
I'm sure the stadium would stand it. Marchand. Into the hands of Rouma. Great push, though, by La Rochelle. That's not worked out at all the way that Toulouse were hoping. Jack Willis, in the end, has to get his hands on the ball and make sure that the possession is secured. Graou, he'll start again then. Flamand. No way through for Flamand. It's Coutelia again with another big hit. Also coming through Skelton. Toulouse still have it though. Aki out wide. Ramos injects a little bit of pace. So too does Blair Kinghorn. Kinghorn over the top. However, he's shown too much of that to Teddy Thomas, and he calls the mark. Every time Ramos gets on it though, it just opens up play. Got a little pitter-patter stride, but it always seems to create space. Aki, there's one of those poor kicks again. You get the distance, but it doesn't go far enough out of touch. And that's a good kick. It's not going to go out, though. Unfortunate for Toulouse. You can hear the disappointment around the ground. And that one does find a deep touch.
He's a bit unlucky there, Romain Ntamak. He hit that off the outside of the foot deliberately, and this was just that first bounce prior to where we're seeing it now that would have taken it for more than a 50-22. I mean, that was a
60-22.
60-15 extra points.
Marchand, though, they do have the line out. Again, it's good. Flamand picks it up. Marchand recycles and then bombs around the edge.
Yeah, you're not allowed to jump into contact there, which is what he's judged, and it's teed off.
Well, they're jumping into contact now.
It's not a bad idea for La Rochelle. Just mix it up a little bit here.
Get under the skin.
Here they are. That's about a foot apart. Like I said, that's a start.
Well,
20 metres would be good.
Well, they were hard at it until they realised they were right in front of each other, and then they thought, well, maybe we'll just back off here at the moment. Here we go. Yeah. Not American football. You're not allowed to jump over the tackler.
Haven't seen that in a few years since those great Fijian runners would come and fly in with the knees lifted.
Capitaine.
Look, if he'd got away with it and there'd been no contact, if he'd hurdled him, and we've seen plenty of that in Paris recently, I don't think there would have been a penalty.
Yeah, that was why it kicked off, because big Will Skelton picking on little Paul Graou. So then, penalty goes to La Rochelle.
Marchand, of course, the man in the semi-final last year who was goading his teammate, his international teammate Wadi into that headbutt. So he's got a bit of history with La Rochelle.
This time up against Paul Bourgarit. And a little bit of niggle there too, but nothing really too much.
A bit more convivial.
Yeah, Bourgarit then. Again, good one into Boudant, who looks like he's come on in the second half as well. And now the maul for La Rochelle. This is a good competition now between the two sets of forwards. Boudant putting his elbow into the neck of Meafou. West decides to hold on and is flattened by Pitaki. Bergeon looks for the ball and finds it. Bourgarit. Backed up by Sertaining. Jack Knoll comes flying through as well. Marchand's not allowed to grab hold of it. Penalty advantage to La Rochelle. Boudant back to West. West back to Herstoy. Leds. Well, there was something crossing. There was a knock-on. There was something like that in there. However, they're going to come back for a infringement on the other side.
Looking a little bit potent there. You've got to give credit there to the Toulouse defence, which didn't commit to the runners. Ihaya West did the right thing. He was holding onto the ball, waiting for that outside defender just to come in on him, just to change his shoulders slightly, in which case he would have given the pass to Lates, who was steaming up on the outside. But as it was, the Toulouse defence up to the task.
So then a kick towards the 5-metre line. Was that elbow I was talking about with Meafou.
1-1 there. That was it there, and it was Barassi who just held off from the temptation of jagging in on Ihaya West.
In it comes then. Nicely taken by Concourier, and they set up the driving maul again, 5 metres from the Toulouse try line. They get it going a little bit. A big push by Alexandre Coutelier trying to get that forward momentum going, and they are moving forward. Paul Graou has joined in the defensive duties, the little scrum half, and he's done a pretty good job as well. La Rochelle are going to have to find a way to get this out of the base of what is now a ruck. Forward they come once more. Bergeon sees it. Bourgarit wants it, gets it. Supported by Paul Boudant again. Again, good defence. Skelton. In comes Meafou. You got your wish there for a second. Back again. Coutelier over! And he leans his 135 kilos over the try line to score. And that has not gone down well inside the Stade Ernst Wallon, and the comeback is coming from La Rochelle.
Well, we have seen some big bodies come on in the second half, and one of them, Will Skelton, attracted so many Toulouse defenders there that it left the gate open for big Alexandre Coutelier from Georgia. Here's Skelton. They flew at him. And then on the other side, the big tight head prop who's come on in the second half. Too big and too strong at that closer distance.
Astoy then with the chance to add the extras. Important that he gets them too. Brilliant kick. Slides in the near post. And all of a sudden, there's a game on here. 22 points to 20.
Here's just the end of it. Big surge ahead. He had Flamand on him, who's no shrimp.
And Contelia scores his first ever top 14 try. Aldred picks it up. He was wearing a skull cap before, wasn't he? Now all of a sudden he's decided to discard it. And not rolling away after the tackle, and that's a simple exit now for La Rochelle. Toulouse looking a little rattled, which is not something you often get to level at them.
Well, the confidence has really swung back. Maybe not in favour of La Rochelle, but they're definitely playing with more confidence than in the first half. And the image of that is that man there, Greg Aldred, fended off Blair Kinghorn and then was looking to play it, held onto the ball, got hit in a pretty solid tackle from Francois Cross. Right under the ribs. But as you say, they got the penalty, gives them an easy exit.
There's Brice Dulin, still injured, which is why Antoine Hustoy is filling in at fullback. Nice one by Delaine. The Irishman doing brilliantly there. Paul Boudet now charging into Roman Entomac, who has manfully brought him down and has earned, in a sense, the penalty that's been won by Jack Willis. That was a great tackle by the fly half.
Capitaine.
Paul Boudet is 107 kilos. Roman Entomac, 94. Paul Boudet, though, at full pace. That was an important stop.
Yes, and he's dragged him down. He made that first brave hit, got bumped off a little bit into Mac, but he held on and brought him down. In the end, that's all the back rowers want from their backs. They don't necessarily expect their backs to be smashing forwards all day, but if they can get them to ground, then rather than a back rower complete the hit, they can get in for the steal.
Oh, that's a great hit. Antoine Dupont appreciating his fellow French international Thomas Ramos. And that's some vital points there for Toulouse because it just stops the rot. 25 points to 20 now, Toulouse lead by. And a disappointment there for La Rochelle after they got that momentum going and they just hand it back. So suddenly it's a 5-point game again. Stadium announcers getting very enthusiastic about the game, as well he might. First home game of the new season. Toulouse still defending a very impressive home run.
And I think that was Greg Aldred, without the scrum cap, as you say, who got himself on the Toulouse side of that maul, and so when it collapsed, he was effectively blocking the ball coming out. Now, that's not the same as getting in that position when it's a ruck, which would have been penalised, but they did very well here, La Rochelle, to keep Jack Willis up. He couldn't get his knees to ground. That stage there, it's already a maul. And there you see him there. He's quite legitimately held in there, Greg Aldred. Wasn't making much of an attempt to get out of there, but he didn't have to. And so that, hence the La Rochelle feed to the scrum. Back in the old days, of course, you'd risk getting a few stripes on your back being in that position.
Broken ribs.
Every now and then you might cop one as a fly half and proudly go in and show off one or two little stripes in the showers. Not often, though.
Leeds waits out here on this left wing. You were saying before the game that sometimes he doesn't get enough of the ball all the way out there. They're going to throw it in that direction at the moment, though. West So Taney's managed to get through again, and he's found Teddy Thomas again. Oh, tackle by Peter Aki. But Teddy Thomas will keep on going and score his second try of the game at some cost to himself as well. But La Rochelle here showing that last season's draw here was no fluke, and this time they intend to win it.
Yeah, well, that was slick from the La Rochelle midfield again. The short ball to Seuteni, but he had an option outside him as well, which was just enough to bring it one more defender off. He goes through the little gap between 9 and 10. Teddy Thomas has done himself a bit of a mischief going over here to his hand or wrist, it looks like, but that's 2 from 3 for this combination. 2 tries, one they almost did as well at the end of the first half. Really combining well when they get the opportunity on the front foot.
Well, Teddy Thomas scored just 2 tries all of last season. He scored 2 tonight alone. Antoine Estoy, simple one this time. And all of a sudden, La Rochelle are back in front. 27-25. The away side lead by, and Seuteni again is the man with the Midas touch. It's a great piece of play by Thomas. He didn't get the clean run this time to the try line. Needed to have his wits about him. It was a terrific tackle by Aki, but his teammates weren't able to make the most of it. Even Jack Willis unable to stop him.
Naoto Saito, the Japanese and former Suntory halfback, now on. Is he the first Japanese player, international player in the top 14, Angus?
No, he's not, because Claremont had a full back as well.
Goromaru?
Very famously.
I wondered if he might have. I didn't think he had. So it's good, as well as Anje Kapuotso. So the United Nations coming on.
Kapuotso is the man who finished off that superb victory for Toulouse against UBB, where they put over 50 points past the top 14 final debutants. If they've managed to keep that, though, La Rochelle, they have. That was on the edge. 3 tries each. La Rochelle, though, have the advantage at the moment. That's all thanks to a missed conversion to the Barassi try. That La Rochelle have the lead at the moment. All penalties gone the other way, going in off your feet in support of the man who was tackled.
It was a good hit, good pressure from the kick chase from La Rochelle, but I think maybe they needed to look more clear, regaining their feet. They sort of, yeah, he's supporting himself on his 2 hands rather than getting fully to his feet and driving through. Only, there wasn't much in that, and probably a bit unlucky that the referee was so diligent. I think you'd get quite a few who might let that go, just because La Rochelle, the impression that they get, the picture that they see is La Rochelle going forward.
Yeah, there wasn't much chance of him actually doing that with that being on his hand, because he was being pushed from behind as well. On comes David Ainu for Doran Aldegheri. Hardly recognise him these days without the top knot.
Try scorer last week, off the bench, wasn't he?
The American international, back on again. Good time to come in as well with the driving maul off the line out. And Toulouse pushing. La Rochelle trying to resist them, and they've done a fair amount of resisting, so Alexander Rumac peels back off the outside. There's been a change as well at scrum half. On has come the Saito, as you say. The lightest man at Toulouse, probably to the heaviest man at Toulouse in Miafu. Saito again. Desperate defence here from La Rochelle. It's like we were when it was 31 apiece, with Toulouse desperately trying to come from behind, although we're a lot earlier in the match at the moment. We're not yet at the hour mark. Still a good 20+ minutes to go. Saito. There is Aino, first pick up by the American, but dealt with efficiently by the defence. However, they've got it back out again. Barassi, no way through for him this time. Saito, quick ball. Jack Willis nearly through. Saito again, and now more quick ball. Ange Capuozzo. He can't get through either. The yellow line is a very thin one. They still, though, hold them off. Big hit from Skelton. Jack Willis is playing scrum half. Another push, half a metre away from the try line. Saito feeds it out wide. Oh, there could be it here. Overlap on the far side. Lebel, has he got the speed? They've dropped it. Surely that's gone out. Wonderful defence from La Rochelle.
Yes, it was. They'll come back for the penalty against Will Skelton. He wasn't trying to smother the ball, but the effect was the same, that Toulouse couldn't quite get that quick clearance they were looking for after his big hit on Miafu. Saito, I mean, if you want to choose a nationality where the game is fast and frantic and you want quick clearance, then the Japanese game is definitely that.
Yeah, still involved with Eddie Jones now back in charge of Japan. Last game he played, though, was a loss against Georgia, only for the second time in their history. And Pierre Bougarit has been smacked squarely in the nose.
I don't know why they're focusing on his opposite, Julien Marchand.
Well, it was almost irresistible. And you'll notice that Capuozzo had the ball here, and then he popped up again on the other side.
2 times. Hands on the ball.
Here's where the penalty came from Skelton, just coming over the top.
There's Capuozzo again, just a few seconds later, but Lebel well shackled by Teddy Thomas in his desperation to offload.
Wasn't far off, though, was it? I don't think Capuozzo really thought that Lebel was going to be able to get that ball away, and so was a bit surprised. Like I say, Skelton wasn't trying to, but the way he came into that tackle left him in a position where he ended up inadvertently preventing the ball coming out quickly for Toulouse. There's no lack of effort or commitment in the first half, but it's definitely come up physically in the second half. Oof.
Here they come once more. More pressure on the try line from Toulouse. Saito looking for the ball. Aki already over the try line once. Saito again, quick ball. Jack Willis again resisting the challenges, dragging in defenders. Saito, Miafu, great hit by Dulan. Marchand. Saito once more. Jack Willis again gets himself into position to be first receiver. Again, Will Skelton trying to disrupt. Ramos comes in and plays scrum half. Miafu again, he again goes over the 5-metre line, but no further. Ramos tries to squeeze under Kuntelia, almost as if he pretended he wasn't there. He's still going. Has he got the ball down? The referee says no.
He's going to go back for a Toulouse penalty, and I think he's saying that he would have penalised Ramos, who was brought to ground, didn't release it.
And this time, I'm afraid, Will Skelton is going to the bin. And the pressure in the end, too much to bear. They might have not conceded the try yet, but now with their biggest man off the pitch, it would surely only be a matter of time for Ronan O'Gara's men before they concede once more. Even when they don't play well, Toulouse are still a cut above most other sides.
It's hard to see them not scoring here with a one-man advantage, but no, they're taking the 3 points, and I think that's not a bad call because it is fraught with danger too. If for whatever reason an error or anything that stops them scoring, La Rochelle takes a huge amount of confidence from that, keeping Toulouse out. There's that clash that I've been dying for the last 22 minutes. And Skelton again getting himself in a bad position. He's a big guy. It's hard for him to not end up on the wrong side, I think, sometimes at the breakdown.
Over it goes then, 28 points to 27, and of course what that does, it puts Toulouse back in front, and they've still got 9 minutes of that sin bin to come.
Well, every block of 10 seconds that La Rochelle can chew up here is invaluable while they wait for Will Skelton to rejoin them. So they won't be in any rush to kick off. Every scrum will probably get reset a couple of times if they can. Just chewing up the seconds here and there to get back to a full complement. Yep, suddenly you need to test the ground a few times with the bounce before kicking off.
And a high West does that and does kick off. Saito gets rid of it. Stays in touch though. Richie Arnold comes on for his first appearance of the season, replacing Alexander Roumas, second row forward, coming on for effectively a third row forward. Great to see the Australian back. Marchand.
Use it!
Saito kicks and encourages the runners to get after it. Jack Knoll takes it. Haven't seen too much from him in an attacking sense so far today, the former Exeter man. In his second season now on the Atlantic coastline with La Rochelle. West launches high. Dylan Led sets off in search of it. So too Sertani. And this time Ramos has missed it, which is rare for him in this game. And it's picked up by Bergeron. Bergeron's still going. Bergeron needs support now. And he gets it. Quintelia. Can Courier breaks back inside again. Oh dear, they've gone in off their feet again, and the lack of discipline hurting them. Louis Penverne, they're the replacement loose head prop, getting a little bit too excited, the 21-year-old.
Yeah, I've got to say, I sympathise with him there. I dislike that penalty because firstly, he's gone past the ball. Secondly, he's contacted a player. He hasn't gone diving in to seal off the ball and stop a likely turnover. He's gone in to legitimately take out a player, and that was inconsequential in terms of the possession of the ball there. So I really think that's a bit harsh. I'm surprised at both teams kicking the ball away. I think there's plenty of motivation for them both, surely, to hold on to the ball. La Rochelle with only 14 players, they don't want to give possession away. Toulouse, I would have thought they'd want to use their numerical advantage and just get through the phases.
Allez, putain, 5.
4 minutes already gone with Skelton off the field, so La Rochelle happy at this stage.
On comes Théo Ntamak or Thibaut Flamand.
He's an athlete, Ntamak, isn't he? No surprise there. Scored a fantastic try. The timing onto the ball last week off the ruck to go slicing through the Van defence.
Richie Arnold, now a long-standing stalwart of this Toulouse side. Peter Aki. Bulgarit thought he could play that, but the referee didn't agree. Ntamak, quick hands. Ramos again. He's always there to take it from him. Jack Knoll, though, has it. West is there. Big guns come in now to clear out. Oh dear, Paul Boudin has got himself into trouble with Théo Ntamak. And the referee has given a penalty as a result, and Boudin could be in trouble.
Really interesting to see where this started, because it looked pretty benign, as much as a breakdown can be benign. La Rochelle had possession there. Something's definitely gone on there to enrage Boudin.
Yeah, that was an odd one. Gregory Aldred has come across, and referee wants a word.
Vous avez résumé la situation. Vous n'avez pas à le faire, d'accord? Pénalité contre vous.
Basically, the upshot of that was control yourself.
Well, he looked lucky. He looked contrite there, I think. If he'd looked a little bit belligerent, which he was up to about 5 seconds ago, there might have been a reach for the pocket.
Yeah, they don't want to have another one in the bin. Ntamak, though, chance here to ram home Toulouse's advantage. Just what La Rochelle didn't want.
This is where they did pretty well at the back there, particularly Ihai West and Antoine Astoy.
Really nothing, that wasn't
There's
it?
nothing until the end, probably, where Boudin used his elbow, but he penalised it before then, so I'm a bit puzzled.
Marchand goes to the back. Oh, that's a big hit. And here comes a big hitter. Miafo surprisingly didn't make it all the way. They're still trying to barge their way over. Saito back on his feet. Where's the ball gone? The forwards are trying to deal with this themselves. Miafo again, and he's over. And a very popular scorer inside the Stade Ernst Wallon, their enormous second row forward, French international last season finally. A man who's had more than his fair share of injury worries over the last couple of years.
And I don't think Emmanuel Miafo realised, well, I don't think he could believe his luck there with not much pressure on him. He might have almost got over there. He had to wait another phase to get over, but too big, too strong again. 2 touches, and the second one comes up with a 5-pointer deservedly. They missed a bit of a trick there, La Rochelle. Only one defender was aware of the threat of that throw over the back. You'd normally see 2 or 3 come up at least.
Ramos through, and the lead is now beyond a converted try. And it's been the perfect sin binning as regards Toulouse. They have now taken control, and we are towards the last 10 minutes of the game.
Yeah, Will Skelton there must be frustrating. He saw his direct rival lurk round the back of the line out as Toulouse ring more changes, but Miafo, I mean, that would have been Skelton, I'm sure, lining him up, or at least being in there for the ensuing phases.
Jules Favre is the man who's come on.
Remplacé par le numéro 16, Guillaume Cramont. Et la sortie du numéro 1, Rodrigue Netti, remplacé par le numéro 17, Hugo Reyes. Stade Toulousain.
Last tries that Emmanuel Miafo scored were 2 tries against Stade Francais, which was the game before his final appearance of the season in the final of the Champions Cup against Leinster. That's it then for an exhausted captain, Greg Aldwit. An awful lot more he could do, but Toulouse again find the way. However, they've given the ball away here. And all of a sudden, pressure coming. Ultan Dulain forward. What's the referee decided, though?
Well, he might have got the word from the touch judge. He absolutely got the word from the Toulouse crowd. Probably a couple of, this might have been a knock-on as well. It was missed. This is the second one that the crowd didn't like, and eventually the referee didn't either.
Bergeron off. Teddy Ribaran has come on. So change at scrum half for La Rochelle. We have just over 10 minutes to go. Jack Knoll is the man who's come off in the backs for La Rochelle to make way for Favre.
Flexion. Lié.
One of the changes from last week. He started against Toulon. Romain Ntamak gets rid of it. Great kick. Good bounce as well to stop anything quickly being taken.
That is a really good kick. Might have caught La Rochelle on the hop there. They'd possibly expect a move off the back of the scrum, just one phase and then the kick, but went straight to Ntamak. He had a bit of a run on as well, and a great strike.
Favre's last game was against Toulouse in the semi-finals last season, before he went off and represented the France development side against Uruguay in the summer. Taken by Delan. Being pulled down in the air. Coming down from that line out. Richie Arnold, by the looks of it, is the one who's been found guilty of it, and the Higher West will be able to gain some territory. Still, a draw is still on the cards, maybe. Well, no, it isn't. My maths is off. 8 points, isn't it, between the two sides at the moment?
Well, I thought you meant a penalty and an unconverted try. I was with you. Scouting on in 1 minute, and La Rochelle's in the right part of the field.
Bougarit, slightly bloody nose and all. By Favre, West, Satani, Teddy Thomas decides to straighten it up. Entomac trying to hold him up, but he does get to ground. Ribéry gets his first touch, out to West, that's nice, out to Favre. Favre to Hastoy, Boudin takes it, good hands from La Rochelle so far in this move. Coutelia, great catch from the replacement tight head prop. They go backwards though at the moment. Bougarit out to Dylan Leds. What they need is him be able to run. However, Ange Capuzzo can also run. He intercepts and comes back the other way. Leds now turns defender. Ramos. Not by Saito. Lebel. Looks like sevens rugby all of a sudden. Lebel almost through. Good little run though. Oh, good hit. I think that's Cancoria, isn't it? So the kick comes in. There's space as well. Jules Favre is going back forward, but it's a delightful kick that finds touch inside the 5 metres. And Toulouse right back, putting La Rochelle under pressure. And that brings to an end the sin binning.
Well, look at this. I mean, this must be close to a 50-22. I don't see any Toulouse players appealing, so presumably the ruck or Saito or both were in the La Rochelle half, but it was pretty close. Great kick anyway.
Here comes Skelton. Referee wanting to hold up whilst the big Australian makes his way back. The Australian captain at the last World Cup. Didn't enjoy that very much. Bougarit. Oh, it's dropped by Cancoria, and he can't believe it. Oh, they are shooting themselves in the foot. Cancoria as well, who is such an important part of this La Rochelle outfit.
Well, look at the pressure here. They didn't compete Toulouse, but they put immense amount of pressure on Teddy Iribarren.
Even so, there wasn't really... They looked like they'd handled it pretty well until that point. This was the kick.
Yes, and the ruck was just in that La Rochelle half, even though Saito had taken a step back into his own.
Numéro 6 et 6.
So then, options either way here for Saito from this scrum. Kane Douglas is coming back on again. Cancoria has gone off. I would imagine that they've decided he's a bit tired, which is why he did that knock on. So they've decided to bring on the Australian second row forward. Josh Brennan is also back on again. Of course, you can always come back on again as long as you weren't replaced when you were injured, and as long as you don't go back into the same spot that you started the game.
Flexion.
That's why you get some imaginative numbers coming on and off. Saito. Strong from Toulouse. Now they try to push. Penalty to La Rochelle, though.
Numéro 17. Coup d'en bas et amène au
That's
sol.
Hugo Reyes,
Numéro 17, noir.
the 23-year-old loose head prop, who came in to replace Benjamin Bertrand on the bench today.
Well, that's bonus possession and bonus exit for La Rochelle, really, isn't it? You've got to imagine it was the pressure being put on by Coutelia, the tight head for La Rochelle, really making Toulouse infringe in order to keep the ball or keep the scrum from being disrupted.
135k against 108 in that that matchup between the two props. Boo. In it comes in from Bougarit. Kane Douglas wins it in the air, as he has done so often for Bordeaux, and they've knocked it on again. It seemed that Teddy Thomas wasn't expecting that ball, but that surely can't be right because he was making the run.
Yes, he may have been making it thinking he was a dummy runner. Regardless, you should always be ready for the ball, and in fact that's what makes it an effective dummy runner. Even if it's been called to not go to you, the best ones are always an option.
Allez, messieurs, en place.
Thomas had a good game, particularly in combination with Seuteni, just getting the ball from a different player then makes for slightly different timing, and whatever it was, the combination just didn't work quite well on that. Frustration for coach Ronan O'Gara.
Too many mistakes as Francois Croz sits next to his French international teammate Julien Marchand.
Flexion.
Work done for them. Left the pitch with Toulouse in front. Théo Ntamak takes it on, runs straight into Seuteni. It's held down though well by Ultain Delaine. There's a penalty advantage to Toulouse. Meafou runs into Boudons and Contelia. They need two men of that size to deal with him. Richie Arnold. Saito. Théo Ntamak. In no way through, he's brought down by Louis Penverne. Saito again out to Josh Brennan. Ntamak, Ramos comes up against Seuteni, no way through there, so skips back the other way. Little ball over the top from Ramos. Lovely done from Ramos. Can he hold on to it? He can just. But he was almost through. The juggling stopped him. Peter Aki bounces off of Ultain Delaine and keeps on going. Saito, who's looked really good since he's come on. New addition this season for Toulouse. They haven't made that many high-profile additions as Ramos kicks it through, looking for the try line, and Jules Favre gets there first ahead of Lebel. But this is at the wrong end of the pitch for La Rochelle.
I think he's going to have a look at this tackle from Seuteni, is it? But just from at the time, couldn't see what was wrong with it. Don't think it was high. He got contact with the shoulders, but with open arms.
At the same time, you still knew it was him that he was going to be looking at, so there's something there, isn't there?
Well, he put his arm out for an advantage straight away. Here it is.
No arms, shoulder, high.
I think he's going to ask if it's high. There's nothing wrong with that for mine. He's open-shouldered, so it's not a shoulder charge. He's hit the ball first, which was at chest level. Now, as Théo Ntamak drops down to go into that thing, he's hit the ball there, even though his head goes back and it looks bad. I can't see how he'd do anything differently here to make it legal.
The referee's not made any judgments yet.
He's just gone back from the force of being in a collision. The other angle will show you that he hit that ball first, which is at chest height. Here it is. There.
Sur cet angle-là, j'ai pas de contact clair à la tête sur cet angle-là.
So the TMO is saying there isn't clear contact with the head.
Good.
Which lines up what you were saying as well.
Cet angle est le plus parlant, je crois.
On regarde tous les angles d'abord.
And he's dropped there as well. He's still dropping into it, as you do. But there's the ball. He's hit the ball.
L'épaule est engagée au niveau du ballon.
Yep, referee's now seen that too.
That's a great shot.
Yeah, it is. That's probably the best shot.
Donc on repartira par un mois d'un but.
Je suis d'accord. On a la décision. On a la décision, merci.
Capitaine. Numéro 15.
Sur la mêlée, juste, le engagement, sur la mêlée.
Oui. J'avais un doute
So I
sur
think
un
this is
plaquage
just going to
du
carry on.
jaune. Il touche le ballon, la tête n'est jamais touchée, donc on
Right, he
repartira
touches the
par un mois
ball,
d'un but.
he never touches his head. Thomas Ramos is arguing the opposite though, as you probably would expect him to.
I think that's well adjudicated, obviously, because
they agreed with
it aligns with what I thought. But I really think, you know, in a collision sport like that, you can't penalise every action that just that looks bad.
Like you said, he hit the ball.
There's no legal justification there to say that there should be a penalty. I don't know what he's going to now, though.
Qui rentre le ballon dans la but? Est-ce que c'est le jaune qui s'en saisit avant la ligne? Oui ou non?
Does he take it across his own try line?
No.
It's close, isn't it, though?
Pour moi, il est dans la but.
No, he's saying he's in the in-goal area.
On a la décision, merci.
So it looks like La Rochelle will get the benefit of that decision too.
I can't believe I'm on the same page as a French referee twice in a row.
Twice.
Maybe I'm getting better.
Lebel feeds it into Theo Ntamak again. And he heads off in search of a forward to hit hard. That time it was Mathis Haddad rather than Paul Prudent. Saito back to his fly half. Ramos, who always seems to be behind Roman Ntamak whenever that ball comes into that area. Ange Capuzzo goes to ground. It's fed out by Saito again. Here comes Josh Brennan. Again, the tackling is solid and true at the moment. Good control, though, from Toulouse. I say that, and then they put out a pass like that, but they've still got possession. Jack Willis. Saito again. Very quick. He recycles it very, very quickly indeed, and that's giving them a little bit of forward momentum. Good push that. David Aino involved, the US international. However, this time wrapping the ball up, and so it will change to La Rochelle possession. But there's only 2 minutes left and 8 points between the two sides.
Well, that man there did very, very well, Pierre Bougarit. Just got in there and ensured it became a maul, which means obviously Toulouse has the responsibility to clear it. There he is there. Oh, the crowd's going to say he's got him around the neck, which is probably fair. Arnold's got Bougarit by the neck as well. It's a funny little grey area. They've looked at now at the TMO's had a look at it, thanks to the help from his 30,000 assistants. I think there's a difference between a full-on tackle, a full-on collision round the neck and ending up in some sort of a wrestling grapple.
Well, Toulouse have decided they've won this, so they've decided to go for the corner. There's not going to be any kind of bonus point coming out of this. It's just a question of pride. New to French rugby, then you've got to get 3 tries ahead of the opposition to get the bonus point, rather than just the 4 tries that you would generally get a bonus point from in other competitions. Otherwise, Toulouse would have already wrapped up the bonus point. In it comes then from the replacement hooker, Guillaume Cramont. And they start with the driving maul. La Rochelle will be desperate not to let this gap grow by the end. And they're going to get the put in. Again, though, it's too late for Ronan O'Gara's men, and he knows it with the little shake of the head. Another one's going to get away. Another match that they might have won here.
Well, they'll be encouraged with, I guess, how they've stayed in this match. Threatened to blow out a little bit when Toulouse was in full control, middle of that first half. I think Will Skelton in that last maul might have had his heart in his mouth. Once he heard the whistle, he has his back to the referee, but a third penalty for lying over the wrong side might have seen him get a second yellow, so he'll be happy with that result.
Right, so this is a put into La Rochelle, and they've got to run the entire length of the field to get a bonus point, a defensive bonus point. Got to get within 5 points. So they need the try. Another difference with other competitions. Yeah, 5 points or less to get the defensive bonus.
Flexion. Lié.
They've got to win this scrum though first. They've got to actually get the scrum off the ground as well. Referee Aldrich talking about where it all went wrong, and Cyril Bay enjoying the fact that it's going to be 2 wins from 2 at the beginning of this half, as Antoine Dupont looks like he's thinking of other things. And O'Gara will be thinking of the next match. No World Cup to interrupt the season this time around. Means that the season will generally be 2 weeks ahead of last week, after we get past that period where the World Cup interrupted. Home crowd enjoying a second victory and a third at home at the Stade Toulousain. Teddy Eribaren feeds once more. Now, what can they do with it? Teddy Thomas breaking through. Teddy Thomas, he's hurt himself though. Well, he hurt himself scoring the try in the first half, and it looks like he's finished off his ankle there. Oh, it's actually not his ankle, it's his adductor, by the looks of it, that's gone.
He's done plenty of running tonight, particularly off the breaks of Seutini on his inside, and just perhaps a little bit of age, a combination of a dropping temperature perhaps, and suddenly a step and acceleration from a long way out all took its toll.
30 years old now is Teddy Thomas. Well, he started off brilliantly, beat his man, and then wasn't able to capitalise on it.
Yes, and normally all the support players would expect him to
disappearing off into the distance.
Stride out, and now thinking we've probably got 30 metres to get in support of him, rather than we've got to get there immediately. So unfortunately he had no one with him.
And there's the travelling fans who are going to have a reasonably miserable trip back to the west coast of France. Here from the southwest centre. So Ramos with a chance to finish off the victory. Well, he skewed it completely wide, but it doesn't matter because 4 tries for the defending champions has seen them through another tough examination by La Rochelle as it finishes here at the Stade Toulousain. Toulouse 35, La Rochelle 27, Toulouse top of the table.
À 3,